It's week 7 of summer camp and I've been doing a course. So I'm going to show you all about that. I've also had time to paint outside, and at the end I'll show you my overview of my week sketchbook. Let's get straight into it. For my online course that I bought myself, you had to start by cutting pieces of cardboard, nice strong cardboard, and gessoing them on both sides. And you could use a base colour as well. You could add some colour into your gesso. Now I was using these flowers for my course that I'd got for my birthday, and using the flowers you had to try to abstract them. Now obviously I've paid for this course, so I've got a lot of teaching on this, and I will recommend the course and link it below. It's by an artist called Rosa Roberts, so I'll link that below. And I'm giving you a bit of insight here to how messy my studio can get when I'm really in flow and working hard. Here are some of the basics. This was just the start. You had to do the outlines, and I did all these different ones on these different pieces of card. I was quite pleased with how many different compositions I came up with. You see the gesso there as well that I was using earlier. Right, what happened next was I proceeded on to adding colour, and I popped these onto my easel to make it a bit easier. I don't always want to be sitting down and looking down. I want to be standing up and making big movements with my arms, which gives me much more freedom. Sped it up, the video, and you can see that there was, I don't know if this was cow's parsley. I'll have to ask Charlotte, who did the flowers for me, but very similar to cow's parsley. And you can see I'm starting on another one here. And I really started to enjoy this once I began to think about not just leaving this bright base colour, but adding in a different background colour. That seemed to really make a big difference. I hope you can see me painting okay. It's a bit difficult to get an angle where you can see well enough as to what I'm doing. Down in the corner here you can see I'm reaching for my paints and mixing in that corner. Got my apron on as well to keep my clothes protected. Here's how they're looking at the moment. They're still incomplete. I want to do a little bit more work on them, but I'm very happy with them, and I feel they're giving Mary Fedden vibes. If you know her work, fantastic English artist, did a lot of still life, a lot of floral, slightly abstracted, and I'm very happy with these pieces. Now I also wanted to show you, there's a bit more to finish on those there. This piece here, I wanted to show you that when I was putting the background on, one of the things I absolutely love is the noise and the feel. Can you hear that noise of it scratching on there when you're adding on the background? So it's like a whole experience for me as an artist when I'm painting. The colour, also the sounds, the feeling, the movement, it's all part of the experience. Moving on, I don't know if you remember from last week, I said that when my dad comes to visit for my mum to have some respite, he has Parkinson's, so it's nice to give her a break. I've been doing work in these mini booklets that I've been making myself. These were all done with my left hand. And these ones as well, I got some flowers from my mum's garden when I picked up my dad, and I did these loose sketches. Tried to do them quite fast. In fact, my son timed me on this one. It was 2 minutes. And using that practice warm-up, I went on to do these mini watercolours. I'd be really interested to hear if anybody would like me to put up the work I'm doing on my website for sale, because I'd love to do a series when my dad's here. Watercolour is very easy to do when you've got somebody else here. It's much easier to do than getting stuck into acrylic. Now I started these larger ones, and unfortunately I didn't get those finished yet, but you can see that I was working from the smaller ones, and I really enjoyed that. Now I told you I got a chance to go out and paint this week. I went down to Two Tree Island, which is near to where I live, and it's absolutely beautiful. You're looking back across to Lee and over to Kent. And I sat on this bench here with some of my paints and some boards to paint on. I'm not very skilled at painting outdoors. I tend to just grab a bag with a load of stuff stuck in and do the best that I can. So there you go. I gave a little film of myself there with Lee in the background. And of course, my dog's always with me, or shall we say my studio assistant. These are the pieces that I did. Again, I haven't finished, and please nag me and remind me to finish these things because I'm very good at starting and not finishing. That first one was the view over to Lee with St Clement's, and then this piece is a bit further on to Southend. You can see Kent also on that side, and you can imagine the pier there. These boats were actually sailing on this day, so I also did a close-up of those as well. I was really quite pleased with those. I thought you'd like to get a view of what it can be like down here on the marshes when the tide has gone completely out. You can walk out for quite a way on all the reeds and get really quite close to Leigh-on-Sea. And this is my gorgeous dog following along with my husband, who loves to do bird watching. And you get a bit of an experience of how beautiful it is down there. So I'll just add that in for you. To finish up, I'm just going to show you the overview of my weekly sketching, or everything I've done for the week. Remember, this is just a fun, quick sketch, nothing for final products. This week I started off with the job that I had to do, which was cut up the cardboard and gesso it ready to start my course. So that's represented there. I did that on the Friday, and then on the Saturday I was ready to get stuck into the painting. Now, as you saw, this is not exactly how it happened because you were supposed to abstract it more than this, but this is just my representation of me painting my flowers and working on the course that I had bought for myself. This watercolour here represents the painting outside, looking over to Lee, showing the pier there and Kent and the marshes that I had in front of me. The next day I had to get stuck into my Christmas card designing. I always do them with collage, and that took me quite some time. Next day I went to the baker's, bought bread and chocolate cookies, and then did watercolour while my dad was visiting. Those are the flowers from my mum's garden. The next day I was off to help out at our local food bank, which is held at a church. You can see the church windows in the background, so my job is to make the tea. And finally, last day of this session, I was watching cricket in the park. Thanks for watching, and perhaps you might subscribe. It'd be really good if you could, and I'll be back again next week.